We're about to build a brand spanking new aluminum expeditionary catamaran after 15 years aboard Trusty Delos. This is going to be no small task, and our lives, our finances, and potentially our sanity are about to change completely. But that's not even the craziest part about it. We have a picture in our heads of what catamaran life will be like. But the reality is that we've barely spent any time on one at all.
How many times have you sailed a catamaran?
Maybe a dozen? So in this week's episode, we're doing sort of an experiment. We're going to be living, sailing, playing, and exploring on Warren and Erica's beautiful catamaran Va, and try to answer the question if life on two hulls is all it's cracked up to be. We woke up to our first morning on Va with a sight that still hasn't lost its magic after all the years living on the ocean. Surrounded by postcard-perfect islands with an incredible sunrise that lit up the entire sky. Within moments of being awake, we encountered what could arguably be one of the most critical points of owning a catamaran: the trampoline.
Yeah, Kaz actually made this up. I'm just the grill master. But yeah, banana pancakes. And just a minute ago, Jack Johnson came on with banana pancakes. It was pretty awesome.
Sarah's got the syrup.
All right.
With the pancake feast overlooking the perfect turquoise water that surrounded us, our day was off to a pretty good start. But we were just getting warmed up, and our next mission of the day was a wet one.
Day one on charter with We Sail. We send our guests out to go on a dive.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Have fun.
Bye, Mom and Dad.
Wait.
You kids behave.
So there's actually a wreck dive over here. So we're gonna go in teams. Brian and Kaz are gonna go dive on it first. We're gonna hang out with the Nugs, and then swap skis. Did we know anything about this dive?
Oh yeah, tell us about
a little briefing on this dive, Warren. What do you know?
Okay, here's what you got. It's a cool ship called the Nordby, and it's between
three-masted,
20 and 30 meters deep. Okay, it's like 70 feet long. It's all pretty much intact except for the wood sheeting, so it's like the skeleton of it.
And apparently I've done it before.
And apparently you've done it before 13 years ago that you don't remember.
It was actually really funny when Warren was doing research about this dive. He found one of Delos' old videos that Brian dove on it when he was first here, and Warren was asking Brian, like, hey, you apparently done this dive. And Brian's like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, totally knew that.
Okay, so many times.
Okay kids, have fun. Bye. Bye-bye.
But before we head out for our dive today, I want to take a moment and say thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this week's video. For me, it's important to work with companies that I believe in, and I strongly believe that it's both healthy and beneficial to talk about your feelings. But it's really, really hard a lot of the times. And for me, it's been everything from personal stress to kind of juggling this work-family balance. Also, relationships surely has their kind of ups and downs. To me, it's been hard to know how to navigate my feelings and also kind of figure out a way forward. So that's when talking to someone has made a big difference for me. You can go to their site or visit our link, betterhelp.com/Delos. They do offer a lot of flexibility. You'll be matched with a therapist usually within 48 hours, so you can get started fast. And one thing that I think is super important is that you can easily switch therapists if it's not a good fit, so you can find that person that you feel comfortable talking to. You can do it all from your phone or computer, via phone call, video chat, or messaging, however works best for you. So if you feel like you can benefit from talking to someone, really however big or small, let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you, all from the comfort of your own home. Visit betterhelp.com/Delos or just use Delos during sign up for a special discount on your first month. Okay, Now back to diving.
Go ahead.
We followed the line down through the murky green water, descending further and further, waiting for the seafloor to appear at any moment. The light from the surface was getting pretty dim when finally we could just start to make out the bottom. But the Norby was nowhere in sight. We kept swimming along the sandy bottom at a depth of about 25 meters and blowing through our air and bottom time as we searched for the wreck. And just when we were really starting to scratch our heads and question whether or not we would actually find this thing, we spotted one of her 3 masts resting on the seafloor. As we prepared ourselves for the big reveal, meanwhile, back above the surface, Sierra was also eagerly anticipating her own big adventure for the day.
Sierra, what are we gonna do while they're gone?
Jump on the trampoline!
All right,
Wait, where's the day one? It's too hot in the sun.
Oh, you want the
The
shade.
shade up! That's a really good idea.
Okay.
Now we're putting a shade up.
Now we're putting the shade up. Okay. And you're open. We did it! High five! Woo!
We followed the mast until the Norby's hull finally came into view. I've always been fascinated by shipwrecks. It's a unique way of experiencing history, and as a sailor in particular, I'm always so curious to know about the life and loss of these vessels. The Norby was built in Scotland in 1873 to transport cargo, and was eventually sold to a Danishman who renamed her the Norby after the small village where he was born. He voyaged all around the world with her, transporting goods from exotic ports of call like Sri Lanka, South Africa, Chile, New Zealand, and countless others. In 1900, the Norby was preparing to make a trip from French Polynesia all the way back to Europe, but not before making one final stop here in Raiatea to take advantage of what used to be the duty-free port here. They anchored inside the lagoon on what should have been their last night before setting off towards the North Seas. It was August, and the Maramu winds were blowing hard. The wind grew stronger and stronger, and they started to drag, eventually finding themselves on top of a sharp, rocky drop-off. Her stern was ripped open, and water began rushing in. There was nothing they could do to save her at this point, and she slowly began to sink to her final resting place, which we're now exploring some 124 years later. We looked up towards the inside of the hull, and we could see some interesting reflections above us. As we got closer, we realized it was actually a pocket of trapped air. So we slowly ascended and found ourselves in the unique experience of having a conversation while submerged 75 feet below the surface. Our air and no decompression limits were creeping closer, so it was time to start our ascent. I have to say it was a super cool feeling to repeat this dive that I did about 13 years ago on my first lap around the world, and this time share it with Kaza. Apart from the poor visibility today, the shipwreck remained remarkably unchanged.
That was fantastic! We did it! Happy we found it.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were going to find it at first.
I was like, where is this freaking wreck? And then it was like, poof, it was right there. It's great.
Okay, you ready?
Ready?
Back to the boat. How's that?
I love this. I love how you can like sit on the back and shower and just like so open. It's just different, you know?
We can do it on Delos, it's just not quite as convenient.
No. And Warren even made some hot waters. It's like a little bit warm water and I love it. So good.
But we couldn't stay dry for too long, and after Warren and Erica went out for their dive, we packed up the gang and took off in the dinghy for a pretty sweet snorkeling mission.
Oh, you guys are ready?
We made our way out to the outer edge of a narrow channel that runs between two little motus. With crystal clear water, a vibrant underwater ecosystem, and a steady current that's always flowing through, it makes for the perfect drift snorkel. Think lazy river meets world-class snorkeling. We hopped in, careful to dodge the very shallow coral, kicked back, and watched this underwater world zip by. We floated along admiring the variety of hard and soft coral, the endless schools of convict tangs, and dozens of other colorful species of reef fish. But probably our favorite part was just the feeling of weightlessness, like we were flying over the reef, and Sierra's little giggles as we whizzed through the channel. We were cruising through at a pretty good pace, and before we knew it, we had reached the end of the reef. We were ready to head back to the boat for some R&R after a big morning in the water, but we couldn't resist one last little stop at a pretty special spot on the way back. We made it back to the comfort and spaciousness of catamaran life that we were now becoming accustomed to, but little did we know that we were about to take the luxury experience to the next level.
What is today, Sierra?
Wow. What is today? Spa day? Oh my god.
How does
Cause this is normally not what gets. You're getting a really VIP treatment
Oh,
here.
I feel it. How does my toes look?
Yeah, look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So nice.
I'm gonna get my toes redone next.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yours need to be redone too. Yeah.
Redone.
Okay. All right, Sierra. It's red.
Cheers, guys.
To the pirate lifestyle.
Yeah.
One you need to say something to Tama.
Okay.
Ask him a question.
What do you want to know, babe?
You're not a babe.
Our day of yacht life wrapped up quite nicely, but the next morning it was time to remind ourselves that we are, in fact, proper salty sailors.
Sailing on a catamaran today, bro.
It's time. We're gonna sail to Bora Bora, and we're in charge.
Considering we're about to build our own catamaran, it's about time we get down to the business of sailing one. Because after so long on a monohull, I can count the number of sails I've done on a catamaran on my fingers and toes.
How many times have you sailed a catamaran?
Maybe a dozen,
Yeah.
but mostly short day hops. I guess this is only 20 miles, so it's not like a long sail, but it is open ocean between the two islands, so there should be some big swells, and we have decent wind from behind, so it should be a good sail. How about you, Kaz?
A few times, but it's never really been that I've been that involved. Like, I just haven't really maybe like paid that much attention to like exactly how everything works, you know? So it's gonna be cool. Thinking about it in a different way now, for sure.
Yeah.
So many things you gotta do manually on our
Is that
boat.
it? Where's your little
The hook you mentioned?
flipper button?
Yeah.
Delos has electric winches and furlers that make putting up and taking in the sails a breeze. But on Va, everything needs to be done manually, so it was time to warm up the arms and shoulders and get ready to do it the old-fashioned way.
I've got 25 degrees of helm to keep us straight, right? Let's put out the jib and see what happens.
Regardless of catamaran versus monohull, every time you set foot on a new boat, there's always a lot to figure out. Each boat has different setups with the lines and winches, little quirks and things to know. But overall, we found that the main thing we needed to learn here is how to get the sail set and keep the boat balanced, and starting to get a feel for the way that changes in how we trim the sails translates to how the boat moves and feels, which is definitely different from a monohull. But despite being new to this boat, Kaz and I have been doing this together for so long that we just slip into our roles without really needing to say anything to each other, and it wasn't long before we were all set up and flying along.
I'm just noticing when you stand up, you can't really see.
You're just tall,
At least I
right?
can't.
You're just tall.
Oh.
You're so used to sticking your head out of
I know, I like to stand up and drive, right?
One thing I know for sure, we are the most styling sailors there are.
We were headed upwind as we made our way toward the pass and out into the open ocean. And then later, when we turned onto our course, we'd be able to settle into what catamarans are known for. Some sweet, non-rolly downwind sailing.
We're going pretty good.
Yeah? What do we got?
8 knots, apparent wind of 18 to 20.
Okay, that's actually pretty comfortable.
And it's kind of interesting because we're not heeling over. We'd probably be heeling over at least 15 degrees in these conditions. Yeah.
You're gonna go to the flat life.
Erica says I should do the sandwich test.
Yeah.
I was like, what's that? She's like, go make a sandwich and see how it is.
You won't have like tomatoes or avocados rolling around or...
What am I going to do with my time?
I don't know.
We eventually made our turn and ended up with the breeze right at our backs. The perfect conditions for some wing-on-wing action.
We are going downwind, but I would definitely say that it's extremely different than sailing on Delos. You know, it's just so much more stable. You get these occasional kind of like slams, which is very different, where it kind of like hits the bridge deck, the waves.
This is actually pretty nice.
Yeah?
Like, I think on Delos, on this point of sail, we would definitely be rolling bad. And this is pretty sweet. We're definitely not rolling. I like that. The motion is a little bit more sudden.
Yeah.
Like a little bit more like quick, like this.
Right.
Where Delos kind of like does more of like this. Overall, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
We've only had 2 wave slams. And I go, what
is that?
What the hell was that? That's a wave hitting the bottom of the boat.
Yeah.
We don't get that on Delos.
Yeah.
17, 18 knots of winds.
All right.
Doing just under 7 knots.
More Boras in our sight.
right there.
Thirsty?
Life was pretty good right about now. We had sunshine, beautiful downwind conditions, and one of the most quintessential tropical islands on the horizon. But as always, sailing is full of surprises, especially when you get too comfortable.
What just happened?
And backwinded the jib, hit the spreaders and tore a huge tear.
Oh my god.
Huge tear.
That.
Yeah, so we're gonna bring her in. Guess we should have taken it off autopilot earlier.
Yeah, but it was doing it, you know, like it was fluctuating back and forth every now and then.
Yeah.
You just never know when there's like a certain amount of pressure.
Same.
Boats.
We can fix that though.
Oh.
We furled in the jib and left just a sliver out, but with the strong breeze, we were still able to cruise along quite nicely the last few miles with just the main. And once we made our arrival and laid our eyes on Bora Bora, any little stress about our ripped sail melted away completely. I remember watching Frasier years ago in Seattle, long before I ever set foot on a sailboat, and seeing that episode where Frasier, Niles, and their ex-wives mistakenly vacationed together on Bora Bora. At the time, I had no idea where it was, and it just seemed very mysterious and exotic. I sailed there on my first lap around the world, and I remember having this crazy moment thinking about how incredible it is that I sailed thousands of miles across the Pacific Ocean and made my own way to a place so wild and exotic that it belonged in a storybook. And now here I am again, more than a decade later, experiencing another one of those crazy moments as I arrive into Bora Bora with my family, about to embark on an unbelievable new chapter of our lives. We are pretty excited to dive into everything that Bora Bora has to offer, but paradise would have to wait, because now it was time to fix our ripped sail.
What's the plan here?
Sail repair tape and actual Dacron,
Okay.
and make a patch. And then have Brian sign it. All over it, there you go. Pretty close. Oh yeah. Sarah, now you're always part of this boat. When you're not here, you'll be here with us, you know?
Cool. Look at that Sierra hands.
Warren and
Warren and Erica have been such an unexpected and unforgettable part of our time in French Polynesia. With the life of a sailor, finding true friendship isn't always easy out here. So when a special bond like ours comes along, it's something to be truly grateful for. And as we prepare for yet another tough goodbye, we can take comfort in the fact that besides the huge rip in their sail, we're also leaving them a little piece of our hearts. We can say without a doubt that our paths will cross again somewhere in the world, but for now, it was time to enjoy our last day in paradise with some very special humans.
Show me what you're wearing. Oh, beautiful.
Look at this place.
Go sit in the swing. Oh, that is the iconic.
This is the Bora Bora I'm talking about.
Yes. Amazing.
This is Temanu. This is his place, his house.
Two masters of disaster. Mahi mahi. Fresh.
Nice fresh, Bonnie.
Fresh.
Now you just have to find no Russian thing. Love this spot.
Pretty good, right?
Okay, the morning is here. Look at us.
It's time to go to Australia.
Packing up again. Wow, what an amazing stay. Super special, and it's actually been really cool to stay on a catamaran for the first time.
Yeah, learned a lot of things.
Yeah, we've learned a lot of things, and yeah, it's just been super cool. And Warren and Erica are they're just really
They're just
amazing.
sweethearts.
gonna miss them so much. I don't want to think about it because then I'm gonna cry. So just gonna deal with that when that hour comes today. It's been so cool to learn a little bit more about like catamaran sailing life. And I think for me, I was thinking about like what my favorite thing is to live on a catamaran versus a monohull. And I think for me, the favorite is definitely, I love the space and the openness for sure, and how you feel like you're more outside in a way. You know, on Delos we like walk down inside, whilst here you kind of just like up more all the time. So that's definitely my favorite part. And I was also thinking about like what my least favorite part probably would be. We did this sailing, it's definitely the healing I think I'll miss sometimes. Just the feeling of when you like go through the water, it's just very different on a catamaran. But that's probably the only thing that I really feel like I would miss, which is kind of crazy. I'll see what Brian says.
First warning. What about you, Brian? What was your favorite part about living on a catamaran?
Not rolling. I'm allergic to rolls. Even on the ocean, we didn't roll. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And it sailed pretty good. And then it's really hard to beat the living arrangement, just like having this space all on one level and then be able to walk out into the back and just go swimming right off the step. I know we can do it on Delos, but it just seems so much like easier for some reason.
What do you think you'll miss?
The feeling of sailing actually is way different. On the monohull, you really feel the boat like going into the waves and going around the waves, and you can just feel the power of the ocean and the wind, and you just don't get that. You really have to sail by the numbers. You know, you can't just sail by pure feeling. It just feels the same at 10 knots versus 20 knots, which is nice, but for pure sailing enthusiasm, I think that's a minus. Yeah.
It's been a blast though.
But it was a lot of fun, and
I think we did the right
really enjoyed
decision.
it. And oh yeah, for sure. I mean, everything, no matter what you do, there's always pros and cons. And for us, for the type of sailing that we do, I think we'll be just fine.
Yeah.
We'll be very happy.
Sweet.
Off to the next adventure.
It's a big one.
Both of us.
Hard saying goodbye, huh?
Yeah.
It's because we love people so much.
Yeah.
It's great that you can pull the dinghy right up to the airport here.
Sweet.
It's funny, huh?
Let's go.
That's it.
Hey. I love you so much. We call you every 5 minutes.
This will be a moment I think we'll always remember. Much like casting the lines and setting off all those years ago from Seattle into a totally new, totally unknown, and utterly massive adventure, this feels like a pretty huge new beginning for us. Our trip went surprisingly smooth, and before we knew it, we were touching down in Brisbane. There was so much to do to get settled into our new lives here, but there was one stop we needed to make first before anything else could happen.
That we just couldn't wait. We right here. We just went from the plane straight to the boat, and it's right here.
It's right there behind this door.
I know. We're just waiting for.
Let us in. Let us in. Let us in. Can you see it? Can you see it?
It's so cool. So excited.
Oh, I can see her in there.
Zero.
There she is.
Whoa.
Butts are too big. Butts are way too big.
Okay, wait till the sun comes back.
Good.
Born again.
That's good.
That's not supposed to.
And head to a sign dog.